Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and I'm giving live stream a try just to test it out, see how it goes. And it's definitely a work in progress. I am going to be offering more live streams in the future, so consider this a huge test run for everybody. We're going to be taking a look at the upcoming trailer that'll be released for Tuesday, the next episode, at the time that this is being recorded. So I'm pretty pumped about it. We're going to take a look. If this is a hot mess, that's okay. And if not, that's okay too. We're going to go ahead and let's look at this.
자, 지금부터 그룹 배틀을 시작하겠습니다.
잘한다, 지렸다. 국제전이다, 월드 배틀.
Wow.
미쳤다. 저 빵댕이 어떡해.
이번 라운드는 에이스 배틀입니다.
정말 카드 있는 배틀로.
So it's an ace battle.
돈을 메고 봐야 되는 게 아닌가. 뒤집어진다, 진짜.
Wow.
아, 재밌다, 재밌다.
Well, of course it's the aces. So Mega Crew, we know I've already reacted to the Mega Crews. We get to see Rihanna!
또 HT 됐고 막 이러면 어떡해? 그냥 꼭 같이 하고 싶었는데.
I mean, what's fun is we already know who's in the Mega Crews.
Our special
Right.
guest comes and finishes off, and that power would be fire.
메가크루라는 이름에 걸맞게 인원수.
Brought up the greatest number of dancers. Oh yeah.
첫 번째 줄을 같이 빠지는 거. 우리 그 두 줄. 5, 6, and 7. 아, 그거 너무 늦을 것 같아. 아, 우리가 다 정리했는데.
When you deal with so many dancers, you have to be on top of those timing of things, and that's really tricky to do. It really is. I wonder if this was her first time working with 100 as well. Like, that's really tricky.
내가 필요하긴 한 걸까? 첫 번째 디렉터는 다운이고요.
And you guys told me about the directors as well.
이거 안 나가시면 여기 그 다음 거 하는 거에 시간이 문제가 있을까요?
그거를 댄서들한테 물어보면 어떡하니?
언니가 봤을 때 그림이 괜찮나요? 마음에 들지도 않긴 한데
진행이 안 되니까 좀 답답함을 느껴서 쪽 끝에 분 어떻게 앉으시는 거냐고 무릎 방향이 어디냐고 대칭이 안 맞잖아. 언제 들어가?
When you deal with Mega Crews, it's really interesting to see. It's so different than when you work with just regular choreography or K-pop groups or small groups. Like, it's very overwhelming when you deal with a lot of people.
이 무게가 너무. 저 잠깐 나가도 되죠?
Probably yeah. And also know too, it's very stressful up until this point as well. Wow. Wow. Man. That is that's so sad to see that she had to. Sorry, I don't have YouTube Premium, so you're gonna see some awesome commercials. But that's so sad to see that, like, a lot of the members at this point, like, you're really starting to notice that they're reaching their breaking point. You know what I mean? And so and I know it's good TV, but it's still really hard to have to, from personal experience, it is really hard to be able to carry yourself in a particular way in the limelight like this. And I know some people have more of a negative view. You know, I know Deep and Dop has had some more of a dramatic approach throughout the show, whether or not that was their intention. It's just kind of how they've been coming across, that we've been seeing at least. And so just seeing, like, a lot of the dancers, at least in every episode, we're noticing. I know it was Leah Kim last episode, and then now it's Mina. It's definitely really unfortunate to see them get to that point. I take that kind of stuff pretty seriously for myself. Whenever I have dancers that go through that, I always be like, hey, let's really make sure that we're listening to ourselves, that we're taking care of ourselves mentally and emotionally, things like that. And so it is super unfortunate that this kind of stuff, it kind of sits contradictory to me sometimes, where it's like, okay, yeah, it really helps provide drama, or it provides something to the episode, but at what cost too? You know, like, would I personally want somebody to see me have a complete mental breakdown on TV? Personally, no. But also, it's like, I'm really hopeful that she is okay, and I hope that they're able to healthily push through together, and not just as, you know, just having to push through in an unhealthy way. So we're gonna take a look back here. So it's the grand release of the unaired battles. So we get to see the crew battles that we haven't seen so far up until this point. We've only seen Superkill and Wolflow. It was a 5v5, but I believe that one was for elimination, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But we've seen out of everybody, what was the first one? It was 1 million versus, oh my gosh, why does it escape me? Versus Lady Bounce, is what it was. Lady Bounce versus 1 million. That one was super fire. I really liked that one. So I'm glad we get to see Superkill and Jam Republic, and it just looks super fun, you know? I feel like this is like one of the best part of the battles of the show. It's just you get to see the crews and you get to see them really showcase themselves. And it's kind of like a taste of like, I'm assuming this was happening before the K-pop challenge happened, right? But they're just inserting these throughout the episodes. So I'm really hopeful that like there's just this first taste of their competitive nature between each other, which is really fun. Goodness gracious. And then the ace battles here, right? So there's 8 aces, the vibe from your experience. So I mean, for that, have we already been seeing some of those already, or is that just some, or are these all new? I mean, well, I'll react to them even if we've already seen them before, but I think I'm a slight bit disconnected with like this part of the aces. Have we already seen the aces? Maybe not, because I know some of you were like, okay, there was an ace from each crew would come up and then other aces could call out, like that situation. Is that the same thing, or is this more structured, I guess, is my first question. But I guess we'll find out on Tuesday. And then the mega crews, like we've already mentioned, like we've seen them, I've reacted to them. I've even had to take a second look on one of them just because, you know, each crew brought something so different to the table and I loved it. Like each one had such a really nice iconic sense to who they are, and I really loved each one in a completely different way. Now, when you look at I know part of my feedback, it was influenced by it's a competition. So of course there's going to be a natural comparison. A lot of you have been really helpful in expressing to me that, okay, there's a subtle challenge that may be happening at the same time with this, you know? And so I feel if that's really the case, like with the stairs between Mana Queen and 1 million, and the outdoors with Jam Republic versus Deep and Dop, and then the studio lights with the other 3, Wolflow, Lady Bounce, and Bebe, I really hope that's not the case, but it is starting to look that way. But of course, we'll find out whenever the show releases more episodes and more information. It is unfortunate because I feel like Mana Queen and 1 million in particular brought the freaking house down with their sets. And the fact that if they're potentially up against each other in a challenge, man, that would just be so... you know, I kind of wish it was a little different. Like they were against different people, you know, so they could both like highly succeed within who they are. But, you know, but they're so competitive. But, you know, we can't always get what we want sometimes, and that's okay. But still, we got to see some incredible crews. And so I'm curious I'm curious what this is. New mission for the dancers. I'm wondering if they're having like a pool day. And then, so this is Rihara. She's very well known in the K-pop scene, J-pop, C-pop. She's done all the pops of Asia, and I really love her choreography personally. I love her flow, I love her grooving, and so I think it's really cool. I'm curious if she's going to be like a guest judge for the challenge or what. I'm not entirely sure, but that's going to be really cool. I think that's going to be awesome. Yeah. So, and then we get to see like they're talking through, and we get to kind of hear some more of a background of who the other crews think the other crews are going to bring. And of course, we notice we've already seen who everybody's bringing, which is super cool. What if Jam Republic brings Paris as a helper dancer? Now, I think that was in everybody's mind whenever these came out. I bet everybody flooded to Jam Republic's page to see who did they bring. Right? Because like I've already mentioned even before watching, they have the most experience. At least the members of Jam Republic have the most experience with a mega crew format. And like I've said, mega crews are so different than a K-pop group or small groups, or, you know, just it's so different. Like the logistics of it can be very overwhelming very quickly, especially if the criteria may be not 100% clear, or you're really wanting to showcase yourself as a group, but you've never showcased yourself in this way, right? So I think like having I think it was a good call for Kirsten to not bring Paris. I don't know if she was unavailable or what, but I think it ended up, I think Kirsten, I really love seeing her in this position as a leader because it lets me see her as Kirsten and not as Kirsten of royal family. And I think that's kind of the whole point. And I'm really thankful for that opportunity for myself personally because, like I said, with some of my background, I've really only seen her in the scope of royal family and Request and doing work under Paris as a director and a choreographer, right? So I think it's really cool to see her in this light and representing and leading other dancers. This kind of feels like very generational kind of guidance, which I love. And so I think this ended up working well for the fact that she's not there, But I know they had a huge struggle, and I feel like we get to see a lot of that here. And they didn't really show a lot of it in the trailer, but I am curious about it. Mega Crew, they did. Goodness gracious, a lot of you said 100. She thanked 100 people. That is so mind-boggling to me, and I think it is so impressive, the fact that she was able to do that. Like, that's incredible. And also, kudos to the fact that they have the studio space to fit 100 dancers. Like, that is insane to me. They have the space to do that. And you are going to run into these problems regardless of how fluent you are in this. You are going to forget some details. You guys saw how many visual dynamics that 1 Million brought to the table, right? It was amazing. You had a lot of different floral themed formations. You had a lot of transitions. That whole stair visual of them peeling up to the stairs and then the middle group moving and then creating the peel out down, that was mad impressive. And so just really trying to figure all of that out is really difficult. And so I will say this, out of all the episodes, I think I'm really going to try to find some pirated, like, third-party website where I can watch this because it's really hard for me to find these full episodes. It's really difficult for me to find. If y'all have any links for your girl where I can get around some VPNs and stuff to be able to make this happen, I would really like to watch this episode in particular because it's just going through a lot of these skill sets that are so specific to the Mega Crew. And I think I really want to watch the backstory around it and seeing each crew struggles because I really loved the end results of all the crews. I genuinely do. Even Jam Republic, I really like what they brought to the table. It was strong. It really was. And just seeing, like, I just want to see all of the details of what they had to overcome because I feel like I'm really going to appreciate what they bring to the table even more, just as a viewer, not even as somebody who's analyzing, and yeah, and I also feel too, you get to see kind of how they work under stress because this is very stressful. The time crunch for a Mega Crew a lot of times is a lot of crews take months to set their set, right? But they have a very quick turnaround time, obviously, and we've learned that with the show. And so I'm very thankful for the fact that we're able to get a better context of what they're going through, so it helps us enjoy what they actually brought to the table even more. So the fact that 1 Million has such a quick turnaround time to pull what they pulled was amazing. They don't accept. So, like, I don't know. Also know too, we know with the trailers they like to make these edits, so we have no idea what she's referring to. It could be this instance or these visuals that they're showing us, or it could be something completely different. There's a chance that she was mentioning that because she keeps seeing these details that maybe the dancers are not on the same page on. Not saying that they don't respect her choices, but maybe because they're just not understanding it because they're one number out of 100, right? So I'm very curious how the dynamics of what she's saying to what is happening is going to turn out to be. And also, you guys told me that it's three people who direct, different sections of the choreography. So it'll be really interesting to see how the directors work together, especially if some directors are normally used to taking the full reins on a particular concept or routine, especially something of this scale. It'll be really interesting to see, which I'm very excited about. There's a lot of growing to be had for this trailer. So, and I wonder if what Leah said about do they really need me, I wonder if it's there's other directors involved, so whenever she's putting in her input, they may be trying to go a different direction than what she's inputting in. I don't know. Remember, it's we don't know the true context of the editing, and even then, we don't know the true uncut context of what they're talking about, unless we were there or we watched the episode. So, of course, that's why this is a trailer. First, to lead a certain part, she was pressured. So I wonder if this was one of her first times actually, working with dancers in this way, I think as a director. So I think that'll be really interesting to see as well. So with Mina, we know is the leader of this Deep and Dop, right? So she's I'm assuming, is that Downey, right? It's Downey asking dancers, what are your thoughts? You know, for me, I like asking thoughts for my dancers too. There can be a balance though that needs to happen of like, you don't want to ask too many questions or rely too much on your dancers to make the decisions for you or other people. I know there was some people who got in a little bit of hot water for directing the dance rank mission concepts, but also like, you know, that's all. We don't know the full story of those, but going back to this, it's like there is a true balance of, I think it's appropriate to ask your dancers their input on some things, but other things, because they're just one member out of many, sometimes you may have to make the call as a director for the benefit of it. Like you just have to make the call, and then from there you can give them a choice, you know? So I feel like that just comes with experience too, you know? And also it's mega crew. It's a lot of people you're working with. So I can definitely understand there's an immense level of pressure, especially if she's not super familiar with this particular realm. So I get that.
마음에 들지도 않긴 한데.
진행이 안 되니까
Yeah.
좀 답답한
We couldn't move to
걸
the...
느껴서 쪽 끝에 분 어떻게 앉으시는
So I wonder if it was this situation, you know, where Mina is normally used to the one being in charge or the one in control of the situation as the leader of the group. So I'm wondering if she was getting frustrated at the pacing of the fact that the other directors, I'm not sure. Remember, this is all educated guesses based on the trailer, and I'm not super sold on these either. I really want to try to watch the episode to understand the full scope. But I'm wondering if Mina, because of the time crunch, because remember, it's very stressful, I'm wondering if she's very stressed of the fact that, you know, that it's not moving along as much as it needs to for what it is, right? And also they're filming outside, so there's an extra element on top of it that their crew in particular, they don't have a stage, so they're gonna have to really make sure they're on the same page here, because they have to transport this to outside. And when you change venues, it really does, it can mess with you as a dancer and as a choreographer when you're trying to like make it frame around the area that you're trying to set your set on, right? So that kind of stuff does matter.
방향이 어디냐고 대칭이 안 맞잖아.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, all of this, of course, it can get pretty heated, but also we don't know the full context of it. It's not symmetrical. I have mentioned this before. Whenever I was looking at a lot of the mega crew, symmetry does play a huge role whenever you have a lot of people involved. Whenever you do unison, the range in everybody's movements really plays a huge role. I even mentioned this, there was a K-pop group, I think New Jeans did a dance practice to Super Shy. They had a lot of people in it, and the range of movement really made it visually pleasing. So going back to here, the mega crew, something that made a lot of the crew stand up was their symmetry on both sides. I think Wolflow did a great example of this, where like they had their V and there was chaotic energy happening in the middle of the formation, but the V was symmetrical on both sides and they maintained the spacing, and that's what made it so seamless going across, like organized chaos, right? So I really so that kind of stuff, it is important to touch on where your dancers go really matters here, right? Like everybody has to be accounted for. You can't just say, just spread out, because that can really affect the overall cleanliness, because the more people, the more potential for it to not be clean, right? So that's why mega crews look so captivating when you have everybody on the same page. Yeah, when do the helper dancers come in? So yeah, so it just goes back to, I'm wondering if she's upset with one of her crew members, you know, because she's not remembering the details that she's the one who set. I'm not sure. So I'm not really going to feed too much into this as much. Yeah, I think it's all just editing. I'm not sure. It could have been a general critique to the dancers. You guys should know this information, you know, like because of the frustration of like, we asked you to be a part of this. You have a certain level of responsibility as a dancer to know how to do this in a certain amount of time. Things like that. I don't know. Guys, we don't know. But that's okay, I think. I totally understand that. And it can be very overwhelming whenever you're in that space of like, we don't have a lot of time. I really feel like I haven't done as much as I need to be doing at this point in this timeline that we have. And that can be very overwhelming, which could have directly influenced why she had the moment that she had. And she's, you know, she's the leader, so she is the overall director, so she's the one who is, you know, one of the spearheads of her crew, you know, since the get-go. So I'm wondering if like they're not sitting in a good place, and she just kind of hit her limit, and it is unfortunate. As you know, as I think I've already said it, I mean, as much as it is good to see that these people are people, you know, it is unfortunate that it was on tape, personally, because I feel like sometimes it's better to just have those moments privately and really work through it, you know, maybe like behind closed doors, hearing the audio, I don't know. But I really hope that if anything, it can provide an extra level of compassion and grace for this crew, for people to, you know, really look at these people as people and not just as people to idolize over or people to overly criticize because they didn't do what they wanted them to do, you know. So I really hope that they that we're able to see that a little bit more. So I am very much looking forward to this episode in particular. I think it's going to be really, really exciting, and I just can't wait to just keep going on the path of life with just these analysis and just alongside y'all. Y'all have been astronomically incredible. So, but thank y'all for watching. This is my first live stream. We did it. Woohoo! Thank you for those of you who are watching in the moment as it's happening. I do plan on doing more of these and refining how these kind of go about and everything. Maybe I'll get YouTube Premium so we don't have to deal with commercials anymore. I don't know. But I am gonna finish up this recording soon. I will have it cut and I will upload it just as a regular video for everybody to watch. Thank you guys again for being a part of this with me, and I look forward to catching you on the flip side in the discussions. Okay, bye guys.